Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the E.N.G Media Podcast. We have a very special guest, Janis with Trace.Space. For those of you just joining the podcast, I am Christian Gannon, the co-founder of E.N.G Media, and we specialize in helping software and tech companies scale their revenue. So if you want to learn how to take your software or tech business to the next level, make sure to stick around. So let's get right into it. I understand Trace.Space is helping developers ship embedded systems faster by giving them the same kind of modern, collaborative tools that web and app developers use every day. Your platform creates a live, shared context between firmware and hardware teams, removing silos and making hardware feel a lot more like software. From system-level visibility to timeline-based debugging and collaborative trace analysis, you're helping teams break down complexity and build with confidence. Could you share a little bit more about your business, the services you offer, and your role within it?
Yeah. Hey, Christian, and thanks for having me. And hey to everyone listening. Yeah, I would love to tell more about it. Um, but the journey is kind of actually been going on for a while. I started in the systems engineering space 10 years ago, in 2016. And what I immediately noticed that the tooling for engineers that actually build real physical products in regulated industries seem to be so much more outdated compared to whatever was available even back then for software engineering for collaboration. And I've been closely following this industry for the last 10 years, and I noticed that nothing is changing. So, we got Figma, we got Miro, we got Notion in the software engineering and collaboration world, but the tools that I saw in the hardware engineering space were all still the same 10 years later. And so about 2.5 years ago, together with the rise of AI, we just realized that it's really time to build the first ever AI native hardware engineering platform, and we are well on our way now, and it's an exciting time.
That's awesome. And I know you touched on it a little bit, but how did the idea for it come about? Like, what was the journey to get there? And you said, what was the moment of I'm going to do this rather than thinking about it, if that kind of makes sense?
The I was an executive at a company called Localize back from 2020 to 2022, so almost 3 full years. And all of that time, I was thinking, we're building this company. We see the developer love for the tool. We're investing so much time and effort as senior leaders
Hmm.
into making something like real, like making something scalable. And at the same time, I've always thought that I should be building something for myself. And when we started implementing AI-based translations in Localize, even before the ChatGPT came out, I realized, we need to do something in that space. And, my love for people that build hardware, that build real products like medical devices, cars, aerospace, satellites, and all kinds of interesting things. I just thought it's really a good time to try to help in that industry and make the individual engineer more productive, more efficient, which was never possible before. So the, the I saw at Localize that you can build these very good um, sort of customer first tools.
Hmm.
And then I thought I'll apply those concepts of how a tool should look and feel like in the modern age with deep integration with AI into engineering space. And that's how the idea was born. I together with my co-founders interviewed a lot of people before we started, and everyone was telling us that it's a huge problem, this software hardware engineering collaboration, and that then we decided to raise money and go all in.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing about the journey. And kind of to piggyback off that, what are some of the trends you might be seeing right now in the embedded systems or hardware development space?
I think the biggest trend is that everyone expect that AI will help in every discipline of a company. And we've seen a lot of sales tools, we've seen a lot of marketing tools. There are things popping up for HR, for accounting, but actually, uh, because it's so hard, there's the very few companies that are doing AI for hardware, like real world engineering, and that's exciting. And but the trend, to answer your question, is that the CEOs are asking every department to implement AI to become more efficient, and that's what our answer is. No, it's finally a moment that an individual engineer can be made more productive, and their job can be made better using AI. And now we are seeing that there's much more openness in this traditional industry to try implement and use um, tools that are just few months, few years old. While in the past, it took 30 years of using the same IBM platforms that were all outdated long ago, and now I think there's a real shift happening.
100%. I'm really glad you pointed that out as well. I think that across the board, executives and CEOs and founders are really seeing that but the statistics behind the productivity, right? A lot of those are now getting publicly posted of how efficient now you can be in different areas of the company. And if you're not on top of that, now you're falling behind your competitors, right? So I'm really glad you mentioned that trend. And kind of on that topic, what is making that landscape more challenging or on the flip side, maybe easier to operate in right now?
Well, the challenges are that this specific, like embedded systems, large complex physical products in regulated space, you need to have extreme precision. And AI is the large language models are by nature probabilistic,
Hmm.
and so managing that workflow where the decisions have to be still made by engineers with a lot of training and experience, while at the same time offering them suggestions, offering them insights into their data. Um, and that's a tough balance because there's it's not a fluffy marketing text that you can generate, which is useful.
Hmm.
This requires precision, and managing that balance is challenging. And of course, in this space that we operate in, also everyone worries about their data being used to train AI, and that's something that we have to work around it as well. But at the same time, there's a lot of excitement, and finally, people are realizing that it will change every discipline, and that includes engineering too. So there's expectation that they should get some help, and that's fun.
100%. And I can understand definitely both sides of that. And I think, like you were mentioning earlier, in aerospace engineering or in healthcare, a lot of the data privacy that you're talking about is so huge, especially in the US. When you have HIPAA, you have SOC 2, you have APIs that people are now saying are secure and compliant, but not always completely true on that. And I've seen a couple leaks even with secure APIs. So that's a huge point that you're making, I think, in the sense of that when the adoption rates continue to go up, and as long as the security's there, I think it's going to continue to grow rapidly.
Mm.
And my next question is from we're marketers, so on our behalf, we'd kind of like to ask, how are you currently reaching and onboarding new users? I know you talked about interviewing beforehand to like kind of verify the demand, right, that it was there,
Mm.
but how are you actually doing it now?
I love this question because we have to like think about it every day. There's
Hmm.
just so much noise these days. Everyone's generating content, everyone's using automated AI outbound, everyone's mailboxes are getting kind of full of irrelevant stuff that, I received like this morning, like 20 completely irrelevant emails. And so we have to get creative. And at the same time, it actually is maybe even good that it's happening because building your personal brand on LinkedIn is becoming more important than ever. Like connecting authentically as a leader to your audience is more important than ever. So storytelling, being able to do video, do posts, that's something that actually I think is a skill that will become more important as we live in a world where most of the content will be AI generated soon. Then uh, secondly, just you know founder-led targeted messaging on LinkedIn is working really well for us, and I think that will continue to grow in relevance in the future. And then live events, it's becoming more important every day almost. So we're doing dinners in different cities in the world where we invite engineering leaders to share their story and share with each other. So it's no bullshit, no sales, kind of connections with people between each other. And the same time, we are also doing sort of much more productive things in terms of like live um, collaboration, like with throwing events, workshops, speeches by people that are known in the industry, and then finally also just going to conferences. So connecting with people authentically through social media or through live events. That's our approach, and it's working really well. But of course, it's much more demanding than a self-serve tool that you can just swipe your credit card with and install on your code. Um,
100%. And thank you so much for sharing. I think it's important to have a lot of marketing channels, like you mentioned, like in-person events, the dinners that may be time consuming, but it builds that relationship going down the line. And it's like, oh, I talked with Janis about this. Maybe he has a solution to this answer. And building that so you have this network, right? And I think like you said, like today you had 20 spam emails that are from nothing that you're interested in, right? So a lot of that noise is getting even harder to cut through on
mm,
the other side of that, right? Like if you send an email out or if I send an email out, even if it's personalized, it's not AI. It's like I don't know you and I don't know the reason you're emailing me, so I'm probably going to ignore it. So how do you address that and kind of find a way forward either way? Um, but moving to my next question, what does your typical day-to-day look like as a CEO?
well, I would wish it's something more exciting, but it's it's pretty much doing what SDRs did in before AI. It's a lot of cold outreach, asking for feedback, asking for help, connecting with people in the industry, and making sure that we follow up on customer requests, on any ongoing evaluations, and following up on new meetings that we schedule and speaking to people. So there's nothing new from that perspective in what we are doing is actually lots of talking to people. And then of course part of the week is spent on product and product strategy, which is it's fun. But the interesting thing about being a CEO in a early stage company is that you never know which levers actually work. So you have to iterate fast, you have to try different things, and you have to have a hunch for what's working and what's not working. So uh, part of the week is always spent on deep work on what should we do and how should we do it and how should we implement it. And yeah, that's kind of a, I don't know, I would say one of those tricky things because you don't know what's working right away, and so you have to develop a sense how to measure it without seeing immediate results.
100%. I think the part that you mentioned about iterating quickly is huge, right? If you don't iterate quickly, you're going to be left behind by someone else that might iterate quicker, right? And I think that's a
Mm,
huge point in the sense of not only with product development, but also on the outbound side, like you're saying,
yeah.
with the LinkedIn, with the conferences, with the events. Maybe you're doing one more than your competitor's doing, and that's going to make the difference between you lasting for 10, 15
Mm,
years and your competitor lasting for 1 to 3, right?
yeah.
And kind of piggybacking off that, what you think about success today? What metrics really matter to you and the Trace team? Is it client retention, new onboarding, amount of meetings booked, maybe something completely different?
Well, the fundamentals of company building has not have not changed. The the real most important metric in any kind of B2B SaaS and even B2C business is customer retention. So yes, we can get to a meeting. Yes, we can get to a demo. Yes, we can get to a trial. We can sell into a customer. But how many of those come back at every stage? So how they convert to the next stage, and so that's all the way to user level. Okay, yes, is does the user log in? What do they do when they log in? Do they come back the same day, the next day? Then, and so it's retention is the most important metric if you want to, assess real traction, real growth, and also long-term longevity. And so I think that there is this insane hype around some companies right now in the world, and I think understandably so. Some of the companies in the AI space are growing faster than any company in history, or at least most companies in history. But it's going to be very interesting to see the long-term, uh, let's say, defensibility, because their retention metrics are different than the metrics that were expected from SaaS companies a few years ago. And the moat for like the actual uh, product stickiness is also, let's say, lighter than it used to be at similar sizes. And so, you know, it's going to be very fun to see, all these 50 to $100 million ARR companies that grow very fast, but with not a lot of retention and a relatively uh, like light product from the let's say stickiness and depth perspective. How long are they going to be around? And maybe we're going to see some of them disappear, even though they were like amazingly funded and grew faster than anything we've ever seen. Uh, but I think that's part of excitement about what's going on in the world. Seeing all these changes, observing them, following which companies are doing well, and I would not still want to take away from those companies and those leaders and those people the execution is still there. They're putting in insane hours, insane amount of work. They're iterating fast on marketing, on product, on sales. So they are still doing a lot of things right. It's just that the overall metrics are different now, and that's going to be a thing to watch for sure.
100%. And I guess to dive a little deeper into that, what do you think the reason is behind it? Do you think it's because when you get to the size of a $100 million company, there's some corporate bloating, like there's more, it takes more time to iterate,
Mm.
right? Because of the checks and balances that you have to go through to get approval or something of those lines, or maybe something else?
Well, it's just to me, there's two things. First, it looks like a lot of the revenue is still at the, let's say, AI experimentation phase. So
Hmm.
people want to see what they can do with, how far they can get, and it's spreading across the population, both on the people side and the company side. Everyone wants to try AI, and everyone wants to, or everyone's being tasked to try. So there's a lot of that we will have to see like how much of that is actual um, value, long-term value. And then when you grow that fast, but you have a relatively light product, uh, then anybody could, in theory, build a similar product, but learn from your mistakes and grow just as fast again. And so it's just something that we need to watch out for, this retention, revenue retention in those companies is lighter, and so uh, we'll see how they do.
100%. And I think I've kind of heard that across the board as well on some of the other podcasts and some of the interviews that I've had. I think it's who can build the fastest, but then a lot of them are trying to sell off, right? They're trying to sell to bigger companies. They're trying to get out because they know that someone could beat them at their own game eventually if they don't continue to iterate as quickly. And they'd rather develop a new product, right? If I can build a
Mm,
product like I just saw,
mm,
I'm blanking on his name. He just sold it to Wix for 80 million, right? Like if I can build a
mm,
product in 6 to 8 months, sell it
mm,
for that, and then go back and
mm,
do it again, why wouldn't you do that, right? I don't have to do any of the like deployment
mm.
to sales and marketing. It's already just now integrated with someone else, and I can go back to the drawing board and build something else again, which is exciting times if you're interested in it, but it's just brutal business, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's base 44 that you're talking about.
Yep, that's what it was.
It's both inspiring, but also scary at the same time. It's like it was a vibe coding tool built in a few
Right.
months, and so like does it, like, how much value is there long term from, or it's just it was made money on the hype? We don't know really, but it's still don't want to take anything away from those founders. They managed to be there, and be in the right place at the right time with the right execution and speed and mindset, and um, we're seeing things we've never seen before. So that's pretty cool.
100%. And I definitely don't want to take anything away from those founders. I think we're
Mm,
just in a different environment, right, than we
mm,
have
yeah,
been in previous years, especially going all the way back to before the 2020s, right? So it's a very different environment. It's exciting to watch from outside in, I will say that. And my next question is looking ahead, what's next for Trace.Space in the next 6 to 12 months? Are there any big product features or launches on the roadmap?
uh, I think it's a really fun question to answer, because we are building for like a very deep, very large enterprise need,
Hmm.
which is the one of the core phases in the R&D, is to align your teams on engineering specifications, and there is just so many parts of that workflow that need to be executed well and at scale, and so there's a lot to build. I think couple of the highlights that are happening, um, like I'm calling in from San Francisco Bay Area at the moment,
Hmm.
and I'm here to find a place to live. I just feel like it's the right time for me to be here permanently. The AI is happening here. Best hardware R&D centers are here for many companies, and that's an exciting update on Trace.Space actually having a physical presence in the Bay Area. And the other thing is that uh, everyone seems to want more AI, and we will, you know, build more and more in-depth, I would say, cursor-like workflows for R&D in hardware, but with Trace.Space. So, just being here, talking to people, but also uh, thinking about our own product roadmap and looking and talking to our customers, what do they think are priorities? It just becomes clear that it is the most exciting time that we have seen also in this type of industry that we are in, where some tools that are being used are 30, 40 years old, because everyone's looking at implementing AI. And being the first to do it, and being here where everything where all of it is happening. Those are the kind of biggest updates from the Trace.Space side, is that we're all in on AI, and we are here in the Bay, in the Silicon Valley.
That's awesome and very exciting. And thank you so much for sharing that. And I think that's an exciting time to be in, especially for everyone at Trace.Space, not just you in the Bay Area, right? Just knowing that you're there at site
Mm.
basically where everyone else is building and the people that you want to talk to are there. I mean, that's awesome.
Mm.
And that kind of leads me to my final question. It's a fun one, but a tough one. Hypothetically, if you had a magic wand and could solve just one problem within the business, what would that be?
I think that the amount of uh, data that mm, even the best LLMs have been trained on uh, is it's spectacular what they have been able to achieve. These
Mhm.
foundational model companies basically scraped almost everything available that's online. But I wish there was even more work on the real world problems in the LLM, foundational LLM side. So, that includes engineering specifications, that includes um, engineering, modeling, and simulation data. It includes the testing data. So there's actually still space to train those LLMs on this kind of data. I don't think that we all love to see the summaries, and we love to see the search. We love to see nicely generating marketing content, or even the code generations are getting pretty good. But
Mhm.
the R&D specification generating, there is still possibilities to train more on more data and better data. And so that would be, if I had a magic wand, I would solve for that problem to actually have more data to train on.
That's awesome. And I think that's a great answer. And to wrap up, if people want to connect with you or learn more about what TraceSpace is doing, where could they go and how could they connect?
Well, always you can always check out our website. It's trace.space. But my LinkedIn is linkedin.com/in/B2B SaaS. So follow me, connect with me, reach out to me. Happy to answer questions, happy to help, happy to partner, and you know, excited to be building these days.
100%. And I will leave the links to both Janis's LinkedIn as well as Trace.Space's website in the description of this video. But I highly recommend you check them out and the incredible things they're doing in this space. But other than that, thank you again, Janis, for your time and insights today. And we'll see you guys on the next podcast.